Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the new campaign reward ship, French Tier 7 battleship Flandre. Here's the Dunkirk commander I got if you don't have that one. Traditionally I use Bob Jojo. I think that'd be a good option. We do get some penetration issues at range with this, so that commander would definitely help. If you want to use Emily Guep for the extra heals, that's also a good option as well. Now this game, I got Sea of Fortune domination mode game here. Not the highest scoring game I've had on this ship so far. I've played about 15 games or so. Early impressions video if you're new to the channel. Typically I usually play about 10. Been playing a few extra just to continue to figure it out and try out different strategies. But, you know, this is kind of a good example of how I think it's kind of designed to be used. We got the speed boost. We got really good speed. I think it's the fastest out of these Tier 7 French battleships. And we would typically want to create crossfires with our position and the other battleships on our team. So I've been trying to get off onto the wings here. You do have very high detection in this, so easier said than done, but if you're picking your routes and where you want to pony up, can be pretty effective. Here we got a Fiji. We got another cruiser who's not playing the game for some reason. That's not necessarily great. I know the Fiji wants me to spot for him. I don't necessarily mind spotting, but, you know, him being stacked right on top of me like this isn't necessarily creating crossfires, which we could also do with the cruisers in the vicinity. We got a destroyer that's spawned north of B. He's coming over here, so that's going to help, and I think the battleship's actually going to potentially come in this direction as well. You could make a case, and I would probably prefer he goes and grabs B first, but from our perspective, that's fine, because we will finally get some spotting and crossfire potential. So we're moving over here. We got the speed boost activated, and kind of the idea is, like, let's say you see where the cruiser is sitting there with his control on the floor. You know, we've already created at least about a square and a half distance between us and where we spawn. So if we can create these gaps here, then they have to angle towards one ship or the other, and then we can get these crossfires. Very crazy dispersion, though, on this horizontally. The shot spread way out. The shell's performance at range isn't great. And, in fact, I don't really like the guns on this particularly well. It's pretty much the same performance as the Richelieu Jean Bart guns. You guys that have played those ships a lot know sometimes they can be a little bit erratic. The problem is here we get an extra gun compared to those, but we have the third turret in the back. That means to get the full salvo off, of course, we have to go from fully angled, like we could fire a full salvo with the Richelieu, for instance, because both the turrets are on the front of that ship. Now to get the full salvo, we got to go from fully angled to partially angled, which provides the enemy opportunities to hit us with big booming shots. So harder to get the full damage output safely out with the Flandre compared to the other ones. And the guns, you know, it's kind of lackluster. But here we're going to see the shell switcher perk in action here. This is the AL Dunkirk second slot. We can, once the guns are fully loaded, we can go from AP to HE very quickly. Wham! Get him for probably about 70% of his health, and then another teammate shot him at the same time. So that was a pretty juicy shot there. Got the destroyer off the board. Did have a torp salvo coming our way. We're trying to get as close to silent as possible. Turned in as much as possible. Might get hit by the right-hand torp there. Maybe not. Looks like it goes by us. That's pretty good. So we were kind of expecting the torpedo strike there, and tried to use the island as much as possible. Boise, we're not expecting a torpedo strike from him, so I'm trying to back up either to get some sort of a shot on the Sinop, who's broadside, or potentially the Jean Bart, or to back up into the Boise, who's going around the island. Here's the following ship, though. It's what was it, a Champagne or something? He also sent a torpedo through that gap, so we got to slam on the brakes there, or actually hit the gas to avoid that, and then we'll continue on repositioning. So, you know, not a huge damage opener, but we did get the destroyer off the board, and our team is now able to get A. So Reddit got C very quickly. We had to counter that by getting A, and we've done so. So we're kind of at a disadvantage here. We really have two ships, me and the Fiji, and then it looks like the battleship and the destroyer. I guess it's not necessarily a disadvantage numerically over here. In fact, our position's pretty sound now that I reevaluate it. So we're continuing to move in here. I'm trying to counter these cruisers, of course. The Jean Bart we can deal with in time. Boise coming around here. And the Fiji's going to, I think he launches a torp strike at him, and once again, it's going to pan out for us because this Algerie's right behind him. Algerie, Boise I'm not worried about. We can deal with him in time. Algerie does have the torpedoes, and if he turns that ship, and we're on the reload, by the way. But if he turns the ship, he could get the torp strike off on us. Luckily, the Fiji combines with the guns and the torps and takes him out as we're reloading. And now the Boise, we're going to attempt to take him out. He's got about 8,000 health here. Now we'll go ahead and hit fire right at the waterline. 5 over pens, not quite able to take him out. Secondary is going off. I've seen some people say, okay, this is kind of a secondary beast or whatever, this Flandre. Well, it's got more secondaries than all the other French battleships at the tier. Sometimes it's got 2 extra guns. The Richelieu's the lowest count. It's got a significant amount more guns than that, but it's short range. I'm not going to be expecting to see a lot of people speccing like a Von Hipper, secondary type build on this ship. I don't think it would be worth it. When the enemy gets in range, though, the secondaries can be pretty effective, especially against destroyers. And we got 4 perks in the bottom. We got the health, we got the secondary boost, and the speed boost as well. So, in terms of that, it's fine. But I mean, the secondaries are not something that I would really be recommending on focusing. But other than that, we got basically the Jean Bart / Richelieu gun performance, but with a much higher reload. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, we get 1 extra gun. It's in the rear, so it's a little bit not as effective as having 8 guns in the front, but then dramatically slower reload. That's about 7-8 seconds slower than the other battleships tend to be. So it's probably, I haven't done the calculations, but I'm guessing it probably actually has a lower damage per minute because of that, but it's probably relatively close to the other ones. Speed-wise, though, like I said, it is the fastest out of these French battleships. It's got a bigger turn circle than the others, but, comparable in terms of all that stuff. So, Flandre, I don't necessarily hate the ship. I like it a little bit more than the first 5 or so games I played it. I really didn't like it. But then I started trying to really focus on flanking, and, it's fine, but it's still, those of you guys that watch my content a lot know I like reliable guns first and foremost. So, now we're getting back into this game here. We're kind of trying to counter these 2 battleships. We got the Jean Bart and what is that, CNOP or whatever the other battleship is that's undetected. And note, they got a little bit of gap between us, and they're both kind of pushing in here. So the main goal we got to have in mind here, don't get surrounded. Don't have both of these guys able to engage us at the same time, because we will not be able to protect ourselves with the angling from that situation. Did manage to sneak off a front 2 turret attack, attempting to knock out his turrets, but he had turned them to shoot this destroyer. Now he's turning into this destroyer, and we go ahead and fire the engines up here, and we're going to attack this broadside. And this is kind of where the patience is going to pay off here. We finally get the Jean Bart to turn, which he had to do. This is also creating a crossfire with this destroyer. Destroyers can create crossfires just as well as the other ships. And whammo! Takes a vicious shot there. And now we're just going to try and angle against him, keeping an eye on where's the CNOP. He's not been spotted yet. If he shoots, he definitely will be, assuming that destroyer's a line of sight, but I think the destroyer's not seen him until he leaves the smoke cloud right there. I think he was just not able to see him because he was sitting in the smoke. That's fine. So we're angled against him. Might take a shot from the CNOP here. There's not a lot we can do about it. Hoping the secondaries can kill the Jean Bart. And in fact, the Shurat Soyu takes him out there. So we fire down there at the CNOP, and then we're going to turn hard into him. He's broadside to us. We don't want to return the favor to him any longer than possible. We're still going to try and keep most of these, or all 3 of these turrets on target here if possible, or be in position to get them all back in play as quickly as we can. Take a shot on the nose there. That's fine, not the end of the world. And now that these guns are reloading here, check the map. Looks like it's pointing just slightly away, and we go ahead and fire, and we're gonna get some juicy shots. CNOP, Vlad, these all these Russian battleships, if you get them on the side, that's when they go down pretty quickly. So that's going to really do it from the carnage that we're able to do. We didn't really get away from our opening position on A, but we did have to fight off quite a few ships. We had a couple of battleships, we had the destroyers, and a pair of cruisers as well. So that allowed our team to kind of overwhelm the enemy on the rest of the map there. Looks like they never really got B. I'm kind of looking at that now. Like, someone could have gotten that. We could have made sure that we had a background score lead. Would have been helpful, but luckily the team was able to wrestle the Reds to the ground. So, thoughts on the Flandre? Frankly, it's not my all-time favorite. I'd say if you like the Champagne, Richelieu, might be up your alley. I'm just not a huge high tier French battleship fan. I like it really up to the tier 6, but after that, Jean Bart I'll take out for once in a while, Richelieu once in a while, but Flandre, Champagne, Gascon, none of these have really captured my imagination. But, it's not horrible. If your idea of playing Battleship is just put the controller down and periodically tap the fire button with your toe, definitely don't get this. It will definitely not work playing that playstyle sitting in the back. So that's a look at the Flandre for you guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, blah, 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 blah.